Canada's inability to declare genocide. I'm Brian Lilly with the Rebel.media. The European Union's already done it. The U.S. Congress has done it. The State Department of the Obama administration under John Kerry have done it. Well, so's the Vatican. They've all declared that what's happening to Christians, Yazidis, and other ethnic and religious minorities in areas controlled by ISIS amounts to a genocide. And this week, the British Parliament decided to follow suit. Where's Canada in all of this? Well, trying not to seem on the side of the Christians is what I can tell. On Wednesday, Conservative leader Rona Ambrose stood up in the House of Commons and asked for unanimous consent to declare genocide. Listen to how she phrases this. This is important. She's going to phrase it one way, then we'll hear the Liberal response.
Earlier today, the House of Commons in the United Kingdom voted unanimously to recognize that Christians, Yazidis, and other ethnic and religious minorities in Iraq and Syria are suffering genocide at the hands of ISIS. And on March 15th, the U.S. House of Representatives also unanimously declared that genocide was taking place in Iraq and Syria by ISIS. In light of this, and after discussions that have taken place among all parties, I hope we will find unanimous consent for the following motion: that the House declare that ISIL is responsible for atrocities such as genocide, war crimes, and crimes against humanity against ethnic and religious groups, namely but not limited to Christians, Yazidis, and Shia Muslims in Syria and Iraq, and that it strongly condemn these atrocities and call for an independent investigation and for perpetrators to be brought to justice.
Now, the Liberals shouted down that request for unanimous consent. They were definitely saying nay. Now, it's important because if you want something to pass like that, even one MP saying no, that's enough to shut it down. But the Liberals didn't like it because they had their own wording. Now listen to the difference between what Ambrose said and what the Liberals are saying.
I would like to ask for unanimous consent for the following motion: that the House declare that ISIL is responsible for atrocities, war crimes, and crimes against humanity of a genocidal nature against ethnic and religious groups, namely but not limited to Christians, Yazidis, and Shia Muslims in Syria and Iraq, and that it strongly condemn these atrocities and call for an independent investigation, including into possible genocide, and for perpetrators to be brought to justice. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
My takeaway from all of this is that the Liberals are afraid to be seen as being on the side of persecuted Christians. In the new multicultural ethos, that is just not acceptable. Christians are a majority. Christians are dominant. Therefore, you can't be on their side unless you're really on somebody else's side. Look, the Conservative motion, the majority of people that are calling this a genocide admit that it's Christians, Yazidis, Shia Muslims, and others. Anyone that is an ethnic or religious minority under ISIS is vulnerable. But the Liberals will not talk like that. They will not do anything that makes it look like they want to help Christians. Look at the way they handled the Syrian refugee file. They stopped giving preference to those ethnic and religious minorities. In fact, they said, there's no way to even measure it. We don't want to talk about it. There's another reason that they're probably fiddling around with this. They know that somebody's going to say no, and I don't know who said nay to the Liberal call for unanimous consent. I was standing in the foyer of the House of Commons as that happened. It could have been one lone MP, it could have been a group. I don't know. But I do know this. If the Liberals actually agreed and there was a declaration of genocide happening in ISIS-controlled areas, that would trigger a legal response by the Government of Canada to try and stop it. And by legal response, I mean we would physically have to put boots on the ground or our fighter jets back into the skies, bombing ISIS back into the Stone Age that they want to live in. Because there is legal precedent. There are legal requirements when a genocide is declared. But the Liberals don't want to do that. They're fine with a train and assist mission, one that's far from the front lines. But they don't want Canadians being close to the front lines. They don't want Canadians pushing ISIS back, even if that's what the majority of Canadians in and out of the armed forces actually want.
Thanks for watching. Click here to never miss a Rebel update. Want even more of the Rebel? Well, click here to become a premium member.